Howdy, folks. Welcome back. So, we're going on with this Planet X series here. And here we are back at September 10th of 2017. And this is a different angle from a different satellite of the same event that was captured by Stereo A with Nibiru and Nemesis. And you can see it right here and how fast it happened. This is the normal speed that I usually show you stuff at. And watch how fast this object passes by the sun, boom, and then look at all this debris. Oh, watch all this debris after it passes here. See all that? That's the tail of the dragon. That's they said, oh, it's a bunch of electrified particles, and well, yeah, it is. It's a bunch of electrified particles. It's a bunch of huge debris of tail of debris. That's what's going to, when we interact with this tail, all these things are going to interact with our atmosphere and come crashing down. And when it says here, let's pull out the Bible here real quick because I wanted to incorporate this in here again. So you'll have to bear with me here a little bit as we try to do this. So you saw that, and then we'll go through this frame by frame real quick. So just real quick, let me pull this out. So here we have, it says, let me focus on this here. Oops, I have it one page. There we go. So my bad. All right, thanks for bearing with me. So then the other sign appeared, the dragon in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on his heads. This object has 7 stellar cores going along with it. Each one of those has moons. So I believe what it's talking about is the dragon has 7 heads, which are 7 planets, each with its crown, which is a magnetic field, and the horns are moons. So let's see. The dragon, all right, with 7 heads and 10 horns, so 7 planets and 10 moons, and 7 magnetic fields on the planets, on its heads. Okay, so I know a lot of people like to think it's the UN and the nations and it's the 10 countries and the leaders of those countries, but we're talking about a celestial event here, and this perfectly. So let me get this back into the tripod here. Okay. So now let's go back and we'll pause and start going through this frame by frame. Let's back it up here to the opening frame. All right, here we are at the opening frame, and here's our first frame. And I want you to take note of the times. Where did my pointer go? Okay, let's back up the frame. So here we are, it's 1600, all right? The next frame is 1612. So in 12 minutes, this CME has come already more than halfway out. This thing is hauling ass. The CME is really fast. It's almost all the way out of the screen within 12 minutes. Then, here we are at 1624. Now this is the image I showed you yesterday of Nibiru. And over here, this little round part is Nibiru with that little face on it. You can see it right in here, okay? And then back behind that. Now I want you to notice how this is coming down, bending, and going all the way out. This is reacting to this object, and it's stretching out because the bigger object behind it. Now as we progress, here is our bigger object. This big round black stellar core right here is Nemesis, or Planet X, what they refer to as Planet X. And the reason why it's hard to see or it doesn't look right is because it's bigger than the sun. If you look at this white circle, this represents the size of the sun. Look how much bigger this is compared to the sun, and it's still back at a 45-degree angle like this. So it's not right next to the sun yet. It's still positioned back behind it, okay? So the Planet X that everybody's been thinking of is this black hole right here, this stellar core that matches the definition of a black hole. So now what I'm going to do here is I want to pull something else out real quick. And I'll let you guys look at that for a second here. Let's put this back into motion. And I want you to look at the debris that follows this, okay? Look at that huge debris tail. There's billions and billions of particles and objects in that debris tail. Okay, I had somebody else ask the other night or yesterday after I did yesterday's video, well, what about the part where it talks about the dragon's tail flinging a third of the stars to the earth? Well, there you see the tail, and that's what's going to get flung to earth here. So now I want to do something else here. Okay, bear with me. Let's pull this out of the thing again here. I want to come over to this definition of black hole. All right. Okay. A superdense point in space formed by a collapsing stellar core more than 5 times the mass of the sun. A black hole's gravity is so powerful that light cannot escape from it. Okay, so let's boil this down. It's a superdense stellar core. Whoops, where am I at? My bad. So it's a superdense stellar core with more than 5 times the mass of the sun. So the definition of a black hole is not a hole in space. It's a superdense point in space formed by a collapsing stellar core. So it's a superdense stellar core. A black hole is a superdense stellar core whose gravity is so powerful that light cannot escape from it. Whose gravity, it's so dense that it absorbs light. It's a burned out star. It's in a new phase of matter that's reaching out and trying to suck up any kind of electrons or light or plasma that it can. If you understand like how a battery works, if you drained a battery all the way to 0 and then drained it some more and went into negative territory and changed the copper wire into a new substance, subcopper, that now all it wants to do is reach out to anything and extrapolate electrons from it to recharge itself and turn back into copper. What we're looking at is a phase of matter. This is dark matter. Everybody's wondering what dark matter is. Well, it's a compacted spheroid so dense that it can bend light and absorb light. And there it is right there. That's the Nemesis Planet X right there. Okay, and right here on this side, look over here. You can't see it. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you is you can't see these objects unless they're draped with a solar flare. And over here, I showed you from the other angle last night. Over here, it would be right here in this spot, but you can't see it. But over on this difference one, it makes a difference. It highlights the lighted area and then also highlights the darkened area, and that's what we look for. When we're looking for a black hole, we're looking for missing light or a dark patch. Well, here it is. Here's your dark patch. And then as we go to the next frame, all right, it's already out of frame because it's moving so fast. And here's another stellar core right behind it right here. And then another one down here. And as we progress forward through this, you'll see this one down here is moving out. It has its own magnetic field too, its own little crown. And then you just see all that debris just for days and days and days. All right. Then at the beginning of this day, it already started out with a CME. There's some other object right here with a magnetic field. You can see the round bubble-shaped magnetic field. There's probably a central little core in this one. Over here on this side, you can kind of make it out. This little black image is the ghost image. We want to look more at the white ghosted part here. But anyways, it started out with an object already causing a CME. All right, and it moves out. Looks like there's a secondary one here, so that's one with a moon. Okay. You watch some of these other ones pop out, just little spits and sputters. But then here comes our big event. Boom. And Nibiru would be right here in this little dark patch. It's got some plasma, in front of it. Like I showed you yesterday, it had plasma streaking over in front of it. It would be in this big white ball of plasma right there. So white that it kind of blinds the camera here. But then it's going so fast that it's moving out of the frame. Over on this side, let me just zoom in. It's really faint, but I got to show you the little face feature that we saw last night is right here. There's a little dark patch. There's a little mouth. Remember, it looked like two eyes with an open mouth. Here's Nibiru right there, and you can see that the sun is stretching out and preparing for the much bigger one coming behind it. All right, let me zoom back out now. Okay. Now, right here in this frame, where here's our planet X, our black hole. Over here, you can't see it. But what you can see is that conduit of plasma that I pointed out last night from the other angle. Here's that conduit of plasma making contact with it right up to the surface. And hopefully, let's see, maybe if we can just zoom in on this side just a tad bit. I want to see if we can capture the 3D effect of what's going on here. Come on now. Can you see how plasma is coming out and reaching out and going over it? Right here, it's coming out from the side and going around the front of it. Down below, you can see how it's splashing down and splashing away from it here. This is our object, and this is plasma streaking around the sides of it. Alright, so we backed out of that. Now, something else I wanted to do is, so this was the 10th. Whoops, see? Back. This is the 10th. Let's just go ahead a day. Let's go to the 11th. And while it's loading up, notice how all this debris is just, look how thick it is. Look how dense this debris field is. Okay? So while that's loading up, look at that debris field. Here, let me go in on this side just a tad bit more. Okay, and that was the next day. So let's go to the next day. Let's go 2 days after, and look, it's still all this debris. It's still snowing in front of that camera. All right, that's a huge, huge tail of debris. Let's even go another day. Why not? Here we are 3 days out from the event, and there's still particles all over the screen, dancing all over. All right, so, and then I would even go another day because it even goes into the 14th with all this snow effect going on, but I believe my computer probably won't like that too much. So, and you can see some little object coming out right here. Okay, and this was 3 days after the explosion, after the event, and we still got all these particles dancing around there. And when I looked at the 14th, it was still looked just like this. So we're looking at a tail that is 4 days long, and this thing's moving at what, half the speed of light or something. So the debris tail is huge, So let me take a sip here. I'll go back to our original day. Okay. So while this is loading up again, there were little previous objects before it, and then a few trailing after it. So I believe that those might be the what, 7 heads? Yeah. Yeah, 7 heads with 7 crowns. Something else I have here that I wanted to point out, and I hope this turns out okay. This is kind of help explain something here a little bit. So we're going to go over here to this picture I got on the wall here. Now, this is the dragon, and if you look here, he's spitting out a ball with wings of flames. It's Nibiru. Behind Nibiru is the dragon, okay? The red dragon of Revelation right there. There's somebody in control riding the dragon, okay? So the dragon, what we're looking at, is under control by some entity, by a person, probably God, okay? Then, as we look down here, here's Nibiru. Does that not look like Nibiru that I showed you last night? Then there's these little things, and I was wondering, what are these little guys? But then I noticed I see these shapes all the time on the radar or on the satellite. We're seeing these stellar cores with these little magnetic fields around them, okay? So that's what I believe is trying to tell us in the Revelation, is that the 7 heads with 7 crowns are 7 planetoid, stellar core, whatever they may be, 7 planets with magnetic fields, with crowns, okay? And 10 horns, they have moons. See, some of these have moons. All right? So I believe that's what we're looking at. The Chinese knew a lot. They knew a lot. They made this picture for a reason. I wish I could read what it meant, but I can just tell what it means by looking at it. Okay. So I showed you that. And what else did I want to cover here? Oh, no. All right, my bad there. We almost stopped streaming. Let me get that back in the... Okay. So I showed you we have a black hole, folks, or a stellar core. It could be our binary twin or whatever, but this was a warning shot. And I want you to watch how fast that black hole goes by us. Something else, it said in that definition, the black hole is a point in space. That means maybe this thing, if it's bigger than our sun, maybe it's not moving, maybe we're moving past it, because it seems to have more mass. But from this perspective, it looks like it's moving past us. It appears to be that's the case because of the tail and all this debris. 4 days worth of tail and debris. And I mean, it even went into day 5. It was still speckling for like a week. But most of that debris was around for at least four good solid days. So we have a black hole that this is a close pass. I mean, it came really close to the sun this time, or the sun came really close to it, either way. On our next pass, we might not get so lucky. And I could see a face-off with the sun and this object. They're 2 magnetic fields, right? They might flop around each other, and this object could come whipping around in between us and the sun. Instead of hitting the sun, it does a little whip around real quick and polarizes on this side, on our side of the sun. It would darken out the sun. It would fling 1/3 of the stars out of the sky. You wouldn't be able to see 1/3 of the sky. And then its tail would eject all the stars down onto the planet. So it says his tail swept 1/3 of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. So that's almost 2 different things. The gravity blocked out 1/3 of the sky, and then the tail got flung to earth. We went through the debris tail, and I'm telling you, there's so much in this debris tail. Just look at that for a minute. That's why I keep playing that, because it's just so much debris. Look how smooth it is there. And then afterwards, bam. And there's all kinds of astrophysicists that'll tell you, oh, it's just a bunch of electrified particles, you know, ionized particles or whatever. Well, yes, they are, but some of these probably are big particles. I mean, we're talking, I mean, look at all that. There's so much. Okay, then what else did I want to point out? There was one other thing. Oh, that was the other thing here. So Maybe my computer. God, please help me with this computer and let me pull up my video, please. Come on now. Thank you for bearing with me here for a second. So I was going to. Oh, come on now. Oh, good. So I wanted to go to. Where'd it go? All right, back to this one here. Please play.
Folks, welcome back.
So please go to this. All right.
Sucking in.
All right, this image right here. Boom. Okay. Oh, stop picking up very well. This is the image we were talking about last night. Now, I wanted to tell you, want you to see how this plasma is draping over this object and draping around it and like silhouetting this black hole. This is something invisible that can't be seen unless it interacts with the sun, just like this. So now back to definitions again real quick. I got one last thing I want to cover here because it'll help us understand a little bit more here about what's going on. So here's that conduit of plasma right there that I was talking about. Here, we'll let this play for just a second.
Electrons to get back to its normal state. It's super energy depleted. Okay? And then right here at the base of this cone, this cone-shaped conduit of plasma, at the base of it is a damage ring of this plasma slamming into the surface and spreading out in a round circular damage ring or an impact zone. Then right here you can see this red circular spheroid, that's Nibiru, standing out in front of Nemesis back here. Okay? And if you look at the size of this white circle, this represents the size of the sun. Look how much bigger this is. And it's still back behind the sun. It's not right next to it. You can tell this is at an angle. It's like 45 degrees back behind the sun still. So it's not even right next to the sun, and it's that big compared to the size of our sun.
All right, so now we're going to come over here to definitions just for one more minute here. Something I want to point out here, if we can get this. So we are right here at Dark Nebula. All right, Dark Nebula. Whoops. A cloud of interstellar gas and dust that absorbs light and is only visible when silhouetted against a cloud of stars or another type of nebula. So let's break this down into layman's terms here a little bit. A dark nebula is a cloud of interstellar gas and dust. Gas and dust is matter. It's matter that absorbs light. Do you see that? It's matter that absorbs light and is only visible when silhouetted. Right here is matter that absorbs light and is only visible when silhouetted. It is dark matter. Okay? What they're trying to tell you is this gas and dust, which is matter, is dark matter. Okay? So what we're looking at is invisible to our eyes unless it interacts with the sun. We're talking about dark matter. Dark matter is a bunch of like lead squeezed down to, even denser. Like imagine the teaspoon weighing as much as the earth, that dense. Okay? So we're talking about something that can only be seen when silhouetted by gas, by other gases. So that's what's happening here. The gases from the sun, this plasma on fire, is silhouetting this object. Okay? So I think I covered everything I wanted to for tonight. Let's just go back to this one real quick. Come back to me, and we'll finish out with the image of Nibiru right in front
Look
of
how
me here.
much bigger this is. Revelation 12 star alignment that happened. Everybody saw the woman, but no one saw the dragon. Everyone missed the dragon. Here it is. I captured the dragon, or NASA actually captured the dragon. They don't even know it, but they captured the dragon on the Stereo A satellite on September 10th of 2017, right in the time frame that the Bible speaks of this event happening. Whew, it's a mouthful. I got a lot to say, so just bear with me.
All right, I guess that's about it for tonight. I wanted to show you the other image, the other satellite, and how it captured this event, and the huge debris tail that's back behind this object, okay? The dragon's tail, and how it could possibly block out a third of the stars and fling that debris tail as we go through it. That would make that revelation come true. So that's about it for tonight. I love you all. I miss you all. I hope you learned a little something tonight. And God bless you all. Until my next video. Bye.